Hi, I'm Justin Lee. Thank you for attending this recorded webinar. This is a replay of a webinar that we hosted on inspiring and leading yourself and your teams through remote working in this current climate. So I'm going to start with the agenda and what we're going to cover how the world has changed, what's happened over the last few weeks, and what's the impact, and possibly some impact that you haven't really given full consideration to. Then we're going to talk about the importance of communication, especially if you're in a leadership role. We're going to cover 3 key principles of effective remote working. How do you keep your teams effective, performing, motivated, and energized right now? And yourself, of course. Then we're going to look at 3 key principles of remote leadership. This is on the replay. If you want to contact me, you have any questions, you'd like us to run a workshop, please feel free. Otherwise, this content is going to create real value for you and your organizations. It's here on this YouTube channel, so feel free to review it as soon as you like. So let's start with a bit of me. I am Justin Lee. I'm a business coach, growth coach. I specialize in high performance, leadership, and growth of organizations through the growth and development of the people. From Cambridgeshire in the UK, I work mainly in London and the surrounding areas, and I've been in business for 25 plus years. I've got lots of experience of leading high performance organizations. Now I'm a coach. I love to share works and help my clients to really accelerate performance in their business. Enough about me, let's get on with the webinar. So things have changed, right? The world has changed and we must change with it. Barack Obama stated this years ago. When we think about it, the only constant in our world is change. And whilst we're in an unprecedented situation now, change is continuous and learning to adapt is really important. And Darwin was famously quoted as saying, it's not the strongest or the fittest of the species that survives, it's the one most adaptable to change. Very often misquoted, but it's about adapting change. And here we have a specific opportunity to do just that. And I'm going to share a principle with you. If you're in a leadership role, you will have heard of Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And recollecting what those hierarchy of needs are is really important right now. So we start at base level, and then as each one of those needs is satisfied, we're able to build, strengthen our resolve, and elevate and increase our acceptability on that chart. Now, you look at where people are, they're at the self-actualization level. It starts with safety, then moves to community, then it moves to self-esteem, then we go to self-actualization. One of the things that few people know is that Abraham Maslow met Viktor Frankl, the famous author of the book Man's Search for Meaning. He had been through the trials and tribulations of surviving Holocaust and his time in Auschwitz, the concentration camp. And having met Viktor Frankl, Abraham realized that his highest level on his hierarchy of self-actualization was incorrect. And he went and revised the model and introduced what he called self-transcendent needs. A desire to find meaning beyond myself, to serve the greater good and serve the world. Now, when you think about what this really means, it means that, especially in situations like now, the key workers, NHS staff, people who are putting other people first so that their survival, their well-being, their health, nutrition, and general needs are met before their own. That's self-transcendence at the highest level possible. But what we perhaps haven't thought about is that our teams right now will be going through a reassessment in their minds, not consciously, unconsciously. They'll be thinking, where are my needs most in need of being met or serviced? For people, that will be a reduction from, maybe someone who's a high performer, was self-actualizing, might have really high self-esteem, could be right down at baseline safety and psychological needs now, physiological needs, and may need support that in ordinary circumstances they wouldn't. So as a leader, our position and our job to be able to understand where people are, help to meet where they are, is really awesome. There's fundamentals to remember in terms of communication as a leader. Not communicating isn't enough. If you're not going to communicate, it's better to do some of email communication. But we know that email can be misunderstood, impersonal, and it can be mistaken or overlooked. Better than email is a call to people, a conversation with people to really engage them and understand them. If you have the option to do so, no call is better than just calling. Just the fact that one opportunity to see me here on video, to engage with the camera, helps us all to connect with something more meaningful or engaging. And finally, that video is good, but being in person is optimal. And obviously, we would do that under current circumstances that present its challenges, but start to plan events for when things return to normal at some point in the future. In terms of communication as a leader, it's really difficult to over-communicate right now. That is not possible. So making sure that you have frequent check-ins, frequent communications with your teams is really important. And think about the goal of your communication right now. It's about providing support. It's about creating calm, trust, and clarity, not micromanagement. Right now, if you move to a level of management or micromanagement, and you'll have a really detrimental effect on the relationship with your team and their performance. So remember, goal is support, calm, trust, and clarity. So if we look at effective working, what does it mean to be effective when we're working remote? So there are 3 principles here I'm going to share that I hope you will find useful. Share these by all means with your teams. The first principle is around generating a positive morning routine, something that creates and generates energy in our systems, positivity, and some motivation to get started and meet our day in the best way possible. And the opportunity here is to get ourselves into a position where we start each day and feel at our best each day. And that can be done very simply through embedding a positive morning routine. There are 3 things I do each morning. I ask myself a series of questions to prime me for the day. And those questions are around what is already working in my life. What am I grateful for? What should I appreciate? And what can I get excited about to generate fuel and motivation? So I start the day with those questions. I then move to exercise. So I do some form of exercise every morning to get the blood flowing, look after my mind and my body. And I do some form of mindfulness or meditation. So I do those 3 things. I start with power questions. What gets me focused, energized, motivated? I do exercise, and then I do some calming meditation or mindfulness. And then it enables me, it's a foundation benchmark for a really powerful day. So that's first step. Whatever works for you, get a routine in place, try and maintain it on a daily basis so it creates this bedrock for you of productivity and performance. Second principle, really important also, we start most days with a list of things to do, a do list if you like. And most of us get cracking on that list as soon as we pulled it together. I advise my clients to stop, get your list together, yes, get everything out of your head, to paper or a digital calendar or wherever you're going to put it. But then, before you start work on it, do 3 steps. Review that list, work through it, check it, then assess it. So, which tasks are which? How long is this one going to take? How is each one going to take? Where would they best fit? And then prioritize it. Right, what absolutely most important? And then once I prioritized it and put it in order, I then act on it. I start on my to-do list. And you should be doing this at the start and finish of every day. And I've got this principle: review, assess, prioritize, then act. And the rapper, become an expert rapper, RAPA, review, assess, then act. And if you're familiar with Stephen's work and the habits of high effective people, one of his key models is this important urgent matrix, being able to distinguish between what is and isn't important and what is and isn't urgent, and then plot it on the quadrant. And you can see on this 4-box quadrant here, not urgent, not important, eliminate it. Things like social media, things that don't add any value to your day. And you've got stuff that's urgent and not important, but it might be important to somebody else, in which case, date it. Then we've got things that are important and urgent. This is firefighting on day to day. We've got to get it done. It's got to be done quickly. So we just have to execute in that box. But where the magic happens, where productivity soars, is when you can get to this top right-hand quadrant of tasks that are not urgent but are important. It's systemizing your business. It may be working out strategy. It may be plotting a future trajectory. It may be pivoting to something bigger and more exciting for your clients. But without noting what your priorities are and putting time aside to schedule work in that, we very often overlook it. And if you look at the principles of productivity and high performance, the highest on the planet spend more time in that top right-hand quadrant than they do anywhere else. And that is one of the key differentiators of high performance. Principle number 3. Principle 3 is around scheduling your day. We've got the energy right. We've looked at that, we've prioritized it, we know what goes where. Now it's about scheduling it. So scheduling those tasks with sufficient time you will be able to complete, but insufficient time, so it creates a level of urgent action to get them done. And start and finish your day scheduling. Schedule the start of every task. Make sure it's in your diary. Diarize the tasks. Diarize one-on-ones with people on your team. Diarize check-in. Diarize breaks as well. And I'll talk about why breaks are so important next. But get the day in your diary in a way that is prioritized, scheduled, start to finish, back is a really, really powerful principle. So one of the things that happens to every single one of the day is what scientists call the ultradian performance rhythm. And the chart here just explains what happens during the average day for everybody that works in any environment. The first 90 minutes of our day we spend building energy. It increases as we start work. For 20-30 minutes, energy increases. Then we hit the top performance zone for around 30 minutes or so, and then the energy starts increasing for around 30 minutes. 3 blocks. Energy increases, we hit a top performance zone, energy decreases. Now, what happens at that point depends how well we perform for the next 90-minute segment. But the evidence shows if you take 15 to 20 minutes to have a break and allow your body to go through what we call this ultradian healing response, then you're able to generate even more energy going into the next 90-minute segment. And it enables your energy to increase again and then hit this top performance zone before the energy starts to decrease again. And this cycle of 10-15 minute breaks, thereabouts every 20 minutes, is what enables us to be able to go to the next level of performance over and over again in a cycle during a day. Now, if you don't take the break, you don't get bounce back and you don't get rebounded into top performance. So by not scheduling that time or not creating that space in your day, you will actually find yourself less productive, less energized and less motivated throughout the course of the day. So what we should be doing all of our days, take some time every 90 minutes to recharge, get something to eat, breathe, get some energy going, and it will really transform your productivity and performance. Whether working from home or working in an office or in any other environment, this is an important productivity and energy cycle that we should be applying to our work like this. That's productivity. I hope you'll find those useful to share with your teams and to use your own working practices. Now let's talk about leadership. So when we're leading remote teams, there are some practical things that apply regardless of whether we're on. Here are 3 things that really will help you and your teams when you're working remotely and trying to lead them effectively. The first is, right now, remember, the team will need support. So we're in a period, there's a challenge like most people have never faced. We're moving to remote working, especially for those people who haven't remote worked before. There'll be a sense of disconnect, there'll be a sense of anxiety, maybe stress, even though the role expectations won't necessarily have changed. Just that difference in work environment can cause real anxiety for some people. In remembering that your team support and everybody will be at different pace, your job as a leader is to ask each of them, what support do you need? Right. How can I best support you to perform at the highest level possible? And everybody will know what they need. They don't know straight off the bat. You might have to ask the question, listen and probe and coach a little, but we'll know what they need. Some may need a bit more of a firm guidance. Some people may need some space. Some people may need something completely different. You find out by having the conversation. Doesn't mean you have to do exactly what your team does. Does mean you can adjust your approach accordingly once you proceed. The second principle is about expectations and performance objectives. Now, this is an area that's very often overlooked, even when we're working in an office environment or a team environment. But being clear with your teams, and the phrase here, agree expectations, it isn't set expectations, it's agree expectations, and that's intentional. Because we want to be able to share what we believe our teams are doing, talk about the results we want to get, talk about the output that we're looking for, and then let them come up with the best performance objectives with some conversation and discussion. So I want to be about once those expectations and objectives are set, think about what are the tasks that need to be completed, delivered. What's the timing of those tasks, both duration and endpoints, and how are they going to help us to keep a track of it? This is about us tracking, it's about them self-tracking and updating us. Take this approach with your team where you agree the performance expectations and objectives, you agree the tasks along those performance objectives, the timing of those tasks, and how your team member will track them, update you. That is hugely empowering for your teams, gives huge clarity to them, and can be really engaging. One thing to remember, really important, is in multiple studies, the most famous is the Gallup employee engagement. The number one employee engagement indicator is clarity. I am clear of what's expected of me and I'm able to deliver on it. And that is huge for employee engagement. Number one, when you track this metric, those people that are clear versus that aren't, the engagement score is a 12-fold increase. 12-fold increase. So hugely important this. At every single phase of our working practices, even more important working remotely. The third area of leadership is around creating a rhythm of communication and making sure that people know how often we're going to communicate, they understand what's coming, and then start to rely on communication, and it feels like it creates a habit routine. And that's about helping coaching and review. You've got the expectations set on a regular basis, and the leader coach you, ask you how you're performing. I'm going to check that you're performing at the highest level possible, and I'm going to get you self-check that well. And I do that ongoing progress with you so that you feel that we've made necessary improvements as we move forward and continue our work. And think communication, coaching, and review from a one-to-one perspective, individuals, a team perspective in terms of being able to get the team together on a regular basis, and maybe individual project groups or subgroups working in your teams or your organisation. Think about how you get all three of those groups of people with regular communication, with a coaching approach to get the best out of them and get them motivated, and a review cycle that makes them keen and clear on how to work for and gives you the data you need so that you're keeping abreast of exactly what's happening. So our key principles through working through around leading remote teams. So we would principle number one, the routine. Principle number two, this whole urgent, important prioritization of the tasks and this prioritize before we act. We looked at the third principle, which schedule those task ones they're prioritizing. Start and finish your day with this schedule so that you know exactly what is going on, and it will enable you to leave things behind at the desk rather than taking their personal life. That's one of the challenges working from home, work life. Then we looked at leading remote teams. We covered principle number one: remember your team needs your support. Ask each of them what support they need. Then you apply it. You look at then principle number two, which is agreeing expectations, tasks, timing, tracking, them tracking it, not you. Principle number three is room of communication and coach and review through one-to-ones, teams, and project groups. So there's some really easy, actionable principles there that you can apply straight to business. I introduce myself. I'm Justin. Here are the ways in which you can communicate with me. My mobile phone here. There are links in here. I've got a LinkedIn profile. Feel free to connect with me. Connected. Facebook page for my business and personal. I have a YouTube channel. You're watching this video, so please feel free to click subscribe. I'm on Instagram, and I'm an executive coach. I work with senior leaders who are ambitious and looking to really drive a positive change in working practices, to build organizations to increase performance, get this whole principle and ethos around driving the right leadership behaviors. So if you'd like to work with me, please feel free to reach out with me, and I look forward to engaging with you and hearing more about the work you're doing. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you soon. Take care.